Hello everyone, my name is Vernisa.
Hey y'all, this is Jen.
And this is our podcast, Speak Up. Hey Jen.
Hi.
We made it to episode 4.
That's
hey,
right.
That's a good number, episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you guys are all doing well out there. For those of you who don't know, this is our podcast, and for this podcast we use our voices to motivate people to overcome life challenges through self-love and respect.
That is right. That's always very important. So, for episode 4, what are we talking about? So I know it's called How Loud Is Your Energy, but what exactly does that mean?
How loud is your energy? Wow, literally what the title is. We're basically talking about, when we say how loud is your energy, we're talking about, is it positive? Is it negative? You know, energy speaks a lot of volumes, and we oftentimes underestimate the power of energy. Okay. So that's really the direction that we're taking with this episode today. Like, it's not really just your mood and stuff. It's deeper than that. And literally what you give off literally comes back to you, and it literally moves mountains.
Okay, I see what you mean. So basically, like, almost like an aura, right? Like what you carry with yourself. You know, I feel like you're right. Yeah, your energy speaks for you before you even get a chance to openly speak and say anything. Like, it sets the mood for how you're coming into a room. You know, for people who really read energy pretty well, I feel like they can tell what kind of mood you're bringing in based off of that.
Yeah, like, you can literally be coming in with some bad energy with a smile on your face, and that bad energy is still being felt.
Damn.
Ain't that deep? And it's nothing you can see. It's really something you can feel.
I like that.
Yeah, so we really thought this is a good topic to talk about because it definitely goes with our theme of this podcast in general. And we want to really teach you guys, you know, talk about our experiences with, you know, mastering energy, protecting our energy, you know. So let's dive right into it. So first of all, let's start with, how powerful is energy? So when we say energy, we're referring to our vibe, our mood, and what we set off.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, like we were saying, you know, people can tell your energy without you even saying anything. Like you said, you can come in with that smile on your face. So these things are very powerful because it determines whether someone wants to continue hanging out with you or not, or even get to know you in the first place. Like, let's say you're on a first date or something and you're giving off creeper vibes or something. More than likely, one of you is going to get blocked. You know, whoever the creeper was being, based off of that energy that you're giving off. Or if you're giving off desperation vibes, you know, like, no one's going to want to be around that because it's just too much, but too much negative energy, more so than, you know, positive energy.
Yeah, and I want you guys to pay closely attention to what Jennifer just said when she said desperate or anything like that, because basically it shows you that it's not just between positive and negative. It could be other moods, like you just said, being desperate, or if someone has bad mischievous intentions, that type of energy can be let off. And it's like, it's important when you're able to read a person very well and you can distinguish what they're trying to give off. Like, you know, they say women have intuition. So with that, we have the ability to read off what a person is trying to give off when they come in contact with us.
That is true, actually. I had never actually thought about that, how powerful energy can be. You know, I feel like to us it kind of just comes naturally, like we automatically read somebody, but it's not even an assumption. It's more so like you're reading their body language, or you're seeing their faces that they're making, or like body gestures or whatever it is. It definitely shows a person, you know, how they really are without even having to say anything.
And when we say how powerful energy is, let me tell you how powerful it is. Like, you ever like had a get together, took someone out with you or anything, and that person's not like giving off a bad vibe, it literally could shut down the whole scene.
That's true.
All of a sudden everyone else is not having a good time, or like that vibe is rubbing off on you, or you're ever in a sad mood and someone comes with a happy mood and you start to feel better. It just shows you that without even saying anything, that can like change the tone in the room, and it could set the tone.
That's true, actually. Yeah, it's like absorbing someone else's energy. Like you said, you know, bringing someone in the group who has that bad energy, all of a sudden you feel like your night is messed up and you don't even know why, but it's because you've unknowingly been absorbing someone else's energy because they're just so strong. You know, that they're just constantly walking around with this like gray cloud over their head.
And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I've had instances where, you know, someone could come around with a certain vibe and it makes the night even worse. Not just with being next to that person, but all of a sudden bad stuff starts happening to us throughout the night. All of a sudden, like, we're stuck somewhere because all this energy was set into the air that it attracted more negativity that came towards us. Or you ever be having a good time, or, you know, you're out with someone you're close to that's always happy, and like every time you guys are together, all these amazing things happen. I have a couple friends, even like, you know, sometimes I'm with you, or like I have other friends too, I'm out with them and like I love being with them. But when I go out with them, it's like more good things happen, and the night went way better than we planned it, because it's just like that's what we're attracting towards us. So it shows you how powerful that is just by speaking that.
That's why it's important to really weed out the bad ones in the group and then decide who you really want in your inner circle, because these energies are real. Like, what you're putting out is what you are attracting.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Something very important I want to get into is the power of spoken word. What does that mean to you, Jen?
So to me, that means, like, you know, if you're constantly saying, nothing good ever happens to me, or, you know, why does my life suck every single day? Well, guess what? That's what your life is starting to become, because you are putting that out into the universe. So to me, it's like, yeah, it's not just what you're thinking to yourself, it's more so literally what you're verbalizing out there.
And this could be with any small conversation. It could be with anything. The things that we say is definitely going to come at us. Like, I know you guys heard that saying. Like, you even heard, like, when T Greasy said, these niggas praying on my downfall. Literally, he's talking about how people have put words in the air, you know, wishing bad on his success. And it shows you there's power in that. And that's why you got to come back and pray even harder and speak better for yourself. Because, do you believe it or not, haters exist, and haters speak on your downfall every freaking day. There's people that wake up wishing something bad happens to you. And sometimes some of the bad shit that has happened to you is because somebody was praying on it and somebody was speaking that into existence.
That's why you got to keep your faith up, you know, or at least make sure that you're telling yourself good things and you're putting good things out there, not just for yourself, but for others too. You know, anybody who's around you, even on your haters, you know, haters need love too. So at the end of the day, like, they're gonna need someone praying for them, you know. But that's very true. Like, there is always gonna be someone, or a collective someone, who's going to want to not see you do well, or at least definitely not better than them. So it's very important to realize what you're saying out loud.
And that's why it's important to have, like, daily affirmations that you say to yourself, because if you don't, someone else is saying something the opposite. And you have to every day, like, tell yourself, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that. And it'll slowly fall into place, but you have to believe in what you're saying. All this stuff ties into it, because whatever we're thinking, that becomes what we say and what we do.
Speak things as if they already exist. So instead of saying, I want that car, say, I already have this car and I'm grateful for it every single day. Because that's ultimately attracting it towards you. So, yeah, be very careful what you're saying out loud.
Yes, I completely agree. Energy, like, really falls under a lot of things. Like, you know, it could be related to success and relationships. You know, that whole thing, like, surround yourself with people that have the same energies as yours. Like, if you're this positive, bright light person, you don't want to be around a person that's constantly dimming your light. Because when you're around that, you're going to start feeling like that and thinking that's the way. And over time, you literally end up turning into them. Because especially if they don't want to see you do good, they're going to be wishing that on you.
That's what I was talking about the absorbing the energy thing. You know, when someone has more darkness than light and you bring that light into them, guess what? They're going to start absorbing that energy, but you're going to start losing some of that because you're not gaining anything from their darkness. So, you know, they're gaining and you're losing, and like you said, you become that person, or at least like them, and it doesn't work, you know, because it brings your success rate down. You know, what I mean by that is, like, let's say you have a friend who you thought was your friend or whatever, and you start doing really well and everything, and then you see that this friend never actually has your back. You know, this friend is always telling you, well, you should have done this instead, or whatever. Instead of actually complimenting you for what you have done, they're constantly reminding you of how far you have to go without actually congratulating your successes with you. Well, you know, do you really need someone like that? Because they're just constantly telling you how you're not good enough yet. You know, but it's because they're trying to throw onto you the energy that they're feeling in themselves. You know, whatever they're thinking that, you know, they're not good enough, they want to make sure you feel that way too.
That is so true. And there's a reason why with multiplication, a negative times a positive is a negative, because ultimately a negative can take over. And that's when you gotta be cautious of the negative things you're allowing in your life. We're responsible for what we allow in our life and what we don't allow in our life. So staying away from negativity definitely helps, especially when it comes to your success and with your relationships.
Yeah.
You know, if you're around people who don't believe in themselves, you're going to start not believing in yourself also. So then what does that do? Pull you farther away from the success rate you're trying to make.
Yeah. Negativity really can start to take over. You know, we talk about like how it's important for you to say things that are good out into the universe, because what you put out really does come back to you.
Oh, I want to get deep into that. That's related to karma.
Yeah, everything that ends up coming full circle. You know, like if you guys have seen, I don't know, like for example, governments who are run on pure corruption, you know, that's a lot of negative energy right there. And a lot of governments fall due to that corruption. So it just shows you that negative energy, the more it's put out there, you're like timing by 10 how much of that is going to come back to you, because you're just adding more and more every single time. You know, karma's a bitch.
Oh, that's perfectly said. And you know, it could start off with you saying something bad about somebody, right? But what do you do if you're saying something bad about someone? You're obviously going to do something bad to them, and that's when it comes back at you times 100. And karma, trust me, does not miss. Even if it skips you, it'll get your kids. It'll get something.
And even so, I don't believe that karma skips you, like, in one way or another. Even if it's completely unrelated to what you wished on someone else, it can come back to you. Let's say you wish someone didn't get that job or whatever, you know, you really hoped that they had lost it. What if you end up losing your house or your car or something? That's your karma for wishing that someone else didn't get something that could have made them successful as well. So I do not believe that karma ever skips a generation. Like, yes, it might hit your kid in the same way that it hit you, but there's something that hit you because of that action that you took previously, you know, towards another person. There's so much of that.
Yeah, and it's like, it's all about putting love into the world. That right there is definitely going to come back on you. You know what I mean? Because people oftentimes don't realize those effects, and they wonder, why is this happening to me? You probably was wishing some shit on somebody, and that shit finally came back on you full throttle. And that's why it's important, you know what I mean, to wish the best for people, even if they did you wrong. Because even though, like, that person did you wrong and you're still wishing good, that good is somehow going to find you. Because we're always being tested. So the way we treat people in these tough situations, especially the people who've hurt us, the way we treat them is the big test for us. And that's going to determine what comes back our way.
I think there's this, I believe it was from him, there's this Instagram poet, his name is called Poetic Style, and he posted something that really touched my heart. Basically, it was saying about this woman whose car was pulled over on the side of the road. It wouldn't start or whatever. So this guy named Joe, he stopped on the way and he helped the lady with her car and everything. And she said, thank you, like no one else would do it. So, you know, I'm grateful that you stopped and you helped me with my car. She's like, how can I repay you? And he's like, just make sure that the chain of love doesn't stop with you. You know, so then she goes into a restaurant and she starts seeing that, you know, the waitress is working really hard. I think she's pregnant in the poem and everything. And, you know, she's like thinking about what Joe did for her. So then this lady, she gives the waitress $100 tip. And she's like, you know what, keep it. Like, this is for you and your baby. Like, congratulations. I hope you all the best in life. So then that waitress goes home and she tells her husband that this lady helped her out with the $100 tip. And then the husband's like, oh, baby, like, I'm happy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? It was Joe who was married to that waitress. So it shows that the chain of love didn't stop with Joe because he helped that woman out with her car. She ended up helping his wife, who ultimately helps him in the end without him even realizing it. And that's what we're talking about when things come full circle, where whatever you put out into the universe will ultimately get back to you. I know this was just a poem, but it's actually an example of karma. Like, good karma exists, as well as bad karma.
Yeah, and this goes with the whole idea of giving. When you give, you have to become prepared to receive. I just actually finished reading the book The Go-Giver by Bob Berg, and it talked about the importance of giving, that's the pathway to success. And we don't think of it that way. We always think, to succeed, we just gotta, be selfish and just move our way up. But no, it comes from giving and helping others rise up also. And that same energy is going to come back at you, and you're going to become successful. And you're going to feel better about it because you added value to others' lives while working on your own success. Good book, by the way. I think you guys all should pick it up. It'll give you a whole totally different perspective on life, because not everyone who's successful is greedy. Like, I really want you guys to understand that. Like, there's so many good people out there that have made it to a level of success, and healthy success at that, not just flashy, but they really are wholeheartedly successful on the inside. And that's really where we need to be striving to be successful on the inside.
Yeah, they're not stepping on the little people, as they call it. That's what we're trying to talk about here, where also you can't give expecting to receive, though. That's the thing. Like, you kind of just have to do something from the bottom of your heart, knowing that this is the right thing to do, because it's coming from you as a genuine person. I think that's why it's important to work on that energy in the first place, because you're doing things not expecting anything. You're learning that because you are a whole person, because you know what kind of vibes you bring to the room, or you know who you are, really, you're just living life, and while living through life, you're knowing that you have the power to help somebody, you have the power to make a difference in someone's life, even for a slight moment, or financially, or whatever it is, that you're doing it because it makes you feel good.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Not expecting nothing in return. Knowing that this fully came from my heart, and not because, I'm going to do this so I can get this. Because that's when it's not as genuine. You know what I mean? So, moral of that is, what you put in is what you're going to get. Yeah. Get right back.
At the end of the day, no matter what, even if you're not expecting it, it is going to come full circle.
And so be open to receive. That's really where, we want to, in that part of it at. So, something very important we really, 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 really want to touch on is protecting your energy. And we say this because, I know there's a lot of people out there with really good hearts, that always want to bring good, really want to please others and stuff. And you wonder, how do I protect this? You know what I mean? When we're in a world full of a lot of broken people, or people just trying to give off bad vibes and mess with your energy. So, Jen, what do you recommend?
Well, as far as protecting your energy, I think you should realize that just because you're trying to help someone, it doesn't mean that their problems are your problems. And I think that's the number one thing that we need to remember, because wanting to help other people is something we should all try to do, but we should try to help ourselves first. Because at the end of the day, only you know how much it took out of you to even try and help this person, how much out of your comfort zone you had to step out. So if this person is just being like an energy vampire, they're just going to start taking this from you. And if you allow them to, you're going to become just like them, or probably worse.
And I want to start off by saying, one way to protect your energy is to not even be around that negativity. And when I say that, just because that person wants to hang out with you does not mean you have to hang out with them. I like that whole saying, if it costs peace, it's too expensive. So if when you get with that person, you're going to feel some type of way, you know what I mean, they're going to bring you down, you do not have to hang out with them. You do not have to be around that person, because in the day, they're going to bring you down. Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay to say no. I feel like I had to learn that last year, like the power of the word no. I used to be like, yes, trying to please everybody, but then I'm the one trying to please everyone and make everyone in a good mood. And I'm feeling sad when they're not satisfied. When they're not satisfied with themselves, so they're imposing that onto me. It's okay to say no. And another thing I have to recommend is, one of my best friends with energy is Sage. Me and my cousin actually moved into an apartment, and We don't know what vibe was there before us, but like all these bad things were happening to us when we moved to the apartment. Like we got into a really bad car accident. You know, we've dealt with some sicknesses, and like a lot of just things were happening to us, like arguments with our family. And we were like, we have to sage. We always said we're gonna sage. We're gonna sage. We finally saged our whole apartment, and ever since then, I feel this peace in my apartment. Like I can't even cry when I'm at home. That's how peaceful our home is. You know, I even carry sage spray with me. Like if someone gets in my car, I spray it. When they get out, I spray my desk where I sit at work. You have to clear the energy, the air, because vibes are real, energy is real.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel you on that about clearing the energy. As I've mentioned before, I got out of a really bad relationship last year. So I felt like I had to clear the energy around me in general, you know, specifically my room, because we spent a lot of time there. So what I did was I flipped all my furniture to the other side of the room. I cleaned like the corners deep through and through. You know, I prayed and everything just started to feel better. I even threw away old things that reminded me of him. You know, I just took down everything that would ever physically remind me of him, so that would be one less thing to deal with as far as like what would be draining my energy, because I had to deal with the breakup itself. So if I at least cleared physically the air for myself, that would be one less thing to worry about. You know, it really is important who you're giving your time and energy to, because these people really do exist. Like if you're around the wrong company, you may be sleeping to your own next enemy and you have no idea.
I have no idea. And speaking of like getting rid of old things, like I had someone I used to date, and I still had his hoodie, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking of it. But one, like, you know, I was sleeping in sometimes because it was like really warm. But every time I was sleeping it, something bad would happen the next day. Like I'll wake up to a text from somebody, and I'm like, this motherfucking vibe is still here. So I threw that motherfucker. I threw the hoodie away, got rid of it, and it did something to the air. So it's like it just shows you the vibe is still lingering, and it really is with things, it's with stuff. It could be the person, but you really have to be careful of like who you're allowing near you. Like it's okay to go shut your door, like be like, go just hang with people who you know are giving off good energy, sincerely really want the best for you, because that's really where it starts with protecting your energy, because you don't have to entertain everybody that's near you, because when you do that, you allow a person to fuck with you.
If only you could throw the whole man away, right?
Like and I
but yeah, no, I understand you with that. Like, you know, it's like when I was with this person, I realized that every time I tried to have a serious conversation with him, I would be more drained than I would be happy. I would somehow end up crying more than anything. And I would feel like he was growing and I was being stalled. And I had no idea what was wrong with me. Every single day I would wake up in a mood. You know, even though I wouldn't take it out on people, I wasn't happy within myself. And I didn't realize that I wasn't protecting my energy because I was too busy trying to protect his. You know, so it doesn't just have to be a boyfriend or whatever. Like I've had situations with family members where I've had to step back from them and really isolate myself from them, because I realized, you know what, you're not good for me right now. I may not be good for you either, because we're not aligning. So let's just not talk right now. And, you know, you can decide if you want to keep this person in your life or not. With family, it's a little different. But with me, I recognize that this person and I, you know, we weren't good for each other no more. So we had run our course as far as, you know, what we were going to learn from each other and everything. And I had to regain my entire energy just to move forward with this.
And family is a big one, because, you know, often with families, it's hard to tell our family no, it's hard to tell loved ones no, but they can mess with your energy too. Sometimes it's okay to not answer your phone. If you feel like, you know, you're enjoying your day and you know they're calling you with some negativity or just to bring you down, where you don't have to entertain it. You know what I mean? I know it sounds selfish, but in the day, it's like if it's costing peace, it's too expensive. I remember a lovely lady came to my job, and, you know, for us to meditate, and she was teaching us techniques, and she always said either you contrast or align with somebody's energy. And if that's just contrasting, that means get away from it. Like you ain't gotta entertain it. If it's aligning, that's fine, but that we're not gonna align with everybody who we come across. People are different parts in their life. People are still finding themselves. So some people too, they're bothered with the peace that you have in your own spirit. So misery loves company. A person could just be mad at you for being you. Like, see, why is she so happy? She don't have this, da-da-da. So they find a way to mess with you. Like some people really find happiness just through others, through their significant other. And if once that person leaves them, they're alone, and they wonder why you could stand alone by yourself and still be happy. That's why it's important we're going to get into our new topic, mastering your energy. Let's talk about that a little bit. Mastering your energy. What does that mean, Jen?
Well, since you brought it up, why don't you tell me?
Oh, so actually, I seen a video of Nipsey Hussle speaking on this. Actually, like he was just talking about like the whole thing of like when we master our energy, it's really perfecting what we put out, and what we put out, and that goes with the whole like what's coming back at us. So we have to work on what we're putting out, and through this is where the part of mastering your energy comes through. I like to put this with the power of isolation. When I say the power of isolation, I mean really isolating yourself from the world and facing yourself, facing those demons, facing anything that will cause you to not be your best when you walk out that door and you're in public interacting with other people's energy. That right there is where it starts, you know. Actually last week I had a rough day at work and I had to leave. I had to leave and get my mind together, leave early. And when I left, I really spent some time sitting alone, you know, thinking what's going on. And I dealt with my own traumas, my own fears, things that are bringing me down. And doing that by myself is able to make me be the best person I could be outside. And also not just be the best person, but be able to be strong enough to be okay when somebody who is in a negative space is trying to fuck with your energy.
That's why you really have to work on your own reactions and how you're going to deal with things. Because if there's anything true in life, is it's going to hit you. You know, and that's what you need to learn, that if you control those reactions towards what's going to hit you, life is going to go a lot more smoothly. Again, it's not going to be easy. And, you know, you have your moments where you get angry, your energy's out of whack or whatever. And that's why we emphasize the power of isolation, because it honestly works. Like, much like you, I take my breaks from everything and everybody, you know, and I just really take time to be by myself. Even in those moments, I don't necessarily have to not be doing anything. I can be reading a book. And for me, that would be the moment where I'm realizing, okay, why am I feeling a certain way? You know, what happened throughout my day that made me feel like this? Or is it deeper than just my 24 hours that just happened? You know, is it because something triggered me of a past memory? Or is it because, you know, I'm tired of arguing with the same person? Or what is it exactly that is making me feel this way? You know, what is bringing my energy out that isn't the best version of me no more? And then really start to work on that. And recognize that being by myself is the only way that I'm actually going to do it. Because nobody else knows what's going on in my head, what's in my heart, or what things affect me more than others. So the only way for me to really be realizing why I'm doing this is for me to be alone.
And one way to really determine if you're happy is, how do you feel when you're by yourself? You know, it's easy that we're around somebody, you know what I mean, someone that makes us happy, or like we have like a lover or something like distracting us. But when you're sitting in that room by yourself, what are your thoughts? What are you telling yourself? That right there is the power of isolation, because you learn a lot about yourself. Our relationship with ourselves is the longest relationship we're going to have. You know, of course, the relationship with God also. So you really have to sit with yourself and realize, and you know, I like to, when I'm having a bad day, I don't like to put that shit on other people. I hate taking my problems out on other people. So that's why I go sit in my room by myself. I turn my phone off. I don't text people back, because I don't want someone to catch me in that mood and accidentally say something mean to them or something because I'm having a bad day. You have those people who are having a bad day and they want everyone else around them to have a bad day too. So they walk around cussing their out. You know what? Don't do that shit, because at the end of the day, you're just letting out how you feel. When you need to go take yourself in the room and figure out what is going on, you need to pray and sit with yourself.
I think the question is, can you even be by yourself? Let's start there, because a lot of people can't, honestly. You might even be the energy vampire and not even realize it. You know, I remember when I was with that person, like, he could never be just alone with me. Like, we always had to be around people in public or whatever. And while that was nice, I always wondered why we ended up fighting when it was just me and him. And then sometimes when he would get really vulnerable, I realized that he attacks himself a lot when he's alone. You know, he remembers a lot of past memories, and he thinks about the dreams he never achieved and all this stuff. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people don't allow themselves to feel those demons. You know, like, you have to really let them take you over for that moment and be like, okay, what am I doing to become better than this demon? You know, because I don't want to be an energy vampire. I don't want to be the reason someone else's day is fucked up, or, you know, bring out their insecurities because I'm too busy not dealing with mine. Like, that's not fair. You know, you have to take responsibility for yourself, because only you know what's going on in your head and in your heart. And if you're bringing that out into the universe, you're just going to create more mess in your life, and you're still not going to be happy because you still haven't dealt with whatever it is that you're dealing with inside.
Yeah, like, I don't know if you ever been around a person, they just start tripping out for no reason, just being mean. It's like, what's wrong with you? But they have some inner shit going on. And I'm not talking here like I'm perfect. I've done it before. And that's why I've sat with myself and faced myself. And I realized the solution is isolating myself and dealing with whatever it is so I can't go back in the world and be okay. You know, in the day, like, we have to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as we tell you guys this, we're not saying we're perfect, we've mastered the power of isolation or nothing. Like, it still gets hard for me to let myself cry and really tell myself I'm angry because of this or whatever, but I realize that I have to do it. I have to allow those feelings to come out, and because, like you said, we don't want anybody else to be feeling it, we have to do this on ourselves, you know. Yes, with God, talk about it with someone if you have to, but really deal with it on your own first, and then come talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm being honest with you. It's not going to go away unless you face it. So, all these years you let the same trauma just sit there. That's when it gets worse. And then you're just this bitter-ass person because you just let it sit. So, that's why when shit happens, face it right there. Take yourself in wherever you have to cry about it. Isolate yourself and figure out what really is going on. I'm not saying don't have friends you can't vent to. Yeah, that's fine too. But when you know your energy is so bad to where you're letting it off on everybody, that's when you know you need to spend that time with yourself. And I promise you will feel so much better.
Exactly. Meditation, daily affirmations,
sage.
Sage, yeah, prayer, all of that definitely works, you guys. But it comes down to wanting to do this for yourself.
Like, and it's not easy.
Exactly. No, we never say this stuff is easy. You know, even for us, we work on this every single time. You know, and we have our bad days too. But it's all about that want to become you. Because knowing your ugly side is also knowing who you are. You know, you can't just know yourself when you're a happy person. You gotta know the deep down person inside that no one else gets to see but yourself. Because once you know that side of you, you're ultimately becoming a whole person.
And I want to add this on. This is a big one. Facing your traumas. You know, all of us have had traumatic experiences that have happened to us, and we sometimes try to blank it out. But you have to face that also to be able to accept, okay, this happened to me, but I grew from it. I'm here where I am today. Because if you just hold on to it or keep pushing on the rug, little things are going to keep triggering it, and you're going to feel like shit every time you think of it.
Yeah.
But when you face it, you're like, okay, this is what has happened to me. I grew from this. You're going to feel stronger, and you're going to feel good that you overcame, that you survived.
Yep. Don't let your traumas define you. You know, your energy speaks louder than you do. So make sure that you're constantly working on that, because you have to know that whatever energy you're bringing with you is the impression people are going to have of you.
And we feel it as soon as you come in the door. I want to know that when I walk through a door, people feel good. They don't feel, what's wrong with her? No, like, I want to bring in, you know, it's the feeling that you're giving to yourself on the inside. You want to let that out.
Become your best friend.
That part.
Best friend. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hearing us out on episode 4.
Yes, feel free to subscribe, comment. Our email is speakupjv@gmail.com. This will be available on iTunes, Podbean, and YouTube. Thank you guys for listening.
Bye. We love y'all.
Love y'all.